Welcome to One Brothas Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brothas Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ followers perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with KD Smooth at One Brothas Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's KD Smooth coming back at you with a new report. Shalom, family. I hope you all are well. Family, y'all seen the thumbnail. We are just right quick. I want to touch on something that you may not have heard about yet, but it's flying around out here in these social media streets, and that's this lady. Yeah. This lady said the quiet part out loud, if you will. She let it slip. Some of the quiet part, she let it slip out. So we're gonna chop it up real quick on what this lady let slip out and go from there. But before we do, remember, if you appreciate our content here at One Brothas Mind, please hit the like button and share this report on all your social media with all your peoples. You know, again, I keep telling y'all, they have pretty much mostly all of us in the black community, especially if we're discussing topics and issues of merit. They have us all on a shadow ban out here, all of the social media platforms. So the primary way that this information can get out and we all can view it and discuss it in the black community is mainly if we share it on all our pages and say, hey, you know, did you hear about this? Did you hear this report? You check this out. This was very informative, and so on and so forth. Because they're not allowing they're doing this on purpose. They're shadow banning all of us to prevent our information from getting out and being viewed. But I'm gonna leave it there. And then lastly, be sure to be subscribed to One Brothas Mind. So again, that way you can get the notifications, turn on all notifications. You can get the notifications when we go live or upload new content. Hopefully you can get the notifications. Let's say that, because they're playing games with those too. But you can get the notifications so you can continue to get this information and facts you need. Okay. All right, let's jump into this real quick, family. Okay, so first off, I'm going to share with you what, I ain't even going to say her name. Y'all see her face on the screen. Y'all know who it is. This lady, the director of the CDC, said, this was her statement. She said, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the end of the Tuskegee Syphilis study. Tomorrow, I will be joined by colleagues and public health leaders as we honor the 623 African American men, their suffering and their sacrifice, and our commitment to ethical research and practice. Y'all see her name, the W lady, said Tuesday on Twitter. That was her post. Now, family, what I need you to focus in on, and some of y'all still may have missed it, is the 623 African American men's, their suffering And here it is. And their sacrifice. There was no sacrifice. These African American men, so-called, they didn't sacrifice this. To sacrifice, you have to know that you're sacrificing for something, or you have to agree to make a sacrifice. You know, if the building's on fire and there's people in there, if you're going to decide or make the choice to run in to try to save the people, you know what you're facing. And that's a sacrifice. You still make that choice. You know what you're doing and the risk. Okay? These so-called black people, they were not informed of what was going on. There was no full disclosure. They didn't volunteer for these experiments. They were lied to. They were told they had bad blood by the doctors. You have bad blood. So we're going to give you some medicine to help fix your bad blood or help make it better. They were flat out lied to. And in fact, they didn't receive any medicine, which was a double lie. They never consented because they never were fully informed as to what they were doing with them. You can't consent if you don't know and fully understand what's happening. This went on for 40 years. It was conducted by the government, the U.S. government, and medical authorities and doctors. This injured and affected these men and their wives and their children. The fallout from this affected these families for generations. That's not a sacrifice, director of the CDC. That's criminal. And in Katie Smooth's book, that's satanic. Again, that's criminal. That's satanic. Okay? I mean, literally, the so-called study, as they want to identify, it was an experiment. It was no study. They experimented on black people. And to make it worse, they came up from this satanic experiment, they came up with an actual cure to syphilis. It's called penicillin. Ask yourself, once they came up with the cure in 1943, did they immediately start giving the cure to syphilis to these so-called black men and their families that had syphilis? Oh, they just kept doing what they were doing, even though they actually had the cure in 1943. And it was widely used, helping all kind of other people, but they purposely did not give that cure, the cure that was created and came about from this exact same satanic experiment that came up with a cure, you would think they would go, oh, okay, we got the cure now. Here you go. Thank y'all for y'all service. No, thank y'all. Well, we're going to make it better. Here you go. Whatever they want to make up, you would think that, no. They didn't give them the cure that they were responsible for creating. They were the source for that cure. Again, criminal and satanic. And one of the other things before we move on, family, I want you to realize, I got a few other reports on some other medical experiments that's been done, but this is just one. This is probably one that's, most people are aware of, but there's a whole gang of other medical experiments that they've done on us, family, in this country over the years. This is just one of the ones that they admitted to, and there's been enough reports on it to let people know. It's more popularly known. This, man. Okay, let me get it on, because I'll go off on it. I can go there. All right. So, what I need you to understand, family, is, like I said, this experiment was criminal and it was satanic. Okay. In addition to that, there's a certain spirit, a certain so-called mindset that's in the world, that's always been in the world. Okay. Some people identify it as people that have a God complex, or there's other ways to identify it, but there's a spirit. I call it it's satanic. Okay. And it's a spirit that at least does or has two elements to it. It has more, but it has at least these two elements to it. One, it does not hold or believe that every human being on the earth has equal value. Every human being's life has equal value. It does not hold to that. It believes some human beings' lives are more valuable than others. Okay? That's one element to it. Another element that it has, that this spirit has, is that with the previous element, therefore, the people whose lives have greater value, those people, therefore, by default, have the authority or authorization to make life and death decisions for others, for people whose lives have less value. Okay? And there, like I said, there's some additional elements to this spirit, but these are the two that I want to focus on here in this report. Because another element, a third element, is on your screen. This, as I call it, satanic spirit, it's a very arrogant spirit. Okay, that's one of the characteristics of Satan, family. He's extremely arrogant. Okay? So arrogant that literally, oftentimes, Satan will actually tell you the truth, literal truth. Because he's so arrogant that Satan believes, even though he tells you the truth, that you're still going to be weak enough, uninformed enough, or unwise enough. I don't want to say some of the other words, but you're going to still fall for it, or you're still going to go for it, or you're still going to agree to it. Even if he tells you what's wrong with what he's saying, even if he says the quiet parts out loud, that you're still going to believe him. You're still going to rock with him. You're still going to accept and do and believe the things that that Satan is telling you or telling you to do or what have you. Or you're not going to be able to, if not that, you're not going to be able to see or recognize that it's actually a satanic spirit trying to influence you, lead you, or guide you. Right? There's ways to discern that. There's ways to see, here and there, what that is or where that comes from. One of the ways, just real quick, one of the ways is if you see or receive multiple lies from a particular source, a pattern of lies. That's one characteristic that help tell you you probably dealing with Satan himself, or at least a satanic spirit, right? There's some other characteristics in regards to things that you can see that will help you identify. There will be a lot of inconsistencies. And then of course the obvious is if information is being brought to you that is contrary to scripture. That's the first one off the top, and there's others, but just understand that Satan or the satanic spirit, those who dabble in that, they're very arrogant. They don't care. And one of the reasons why they're so arrogant, one of the reasons why Satan is so arrogant is Satan, or they believe that there's never going to be any consequences for their action. They're immune to consequences. They can say and do whatever they want and nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing's really going to happen to them. They're not going to get in trouble. They're not going to sent to jail. They're not going to, they have immunity. They're immune to this stuff. They're above reproach. That's another characteristic. When you watching and seeing what's going on in life and in the world around you, when you identify those situations and people where you see there's no, for whatever lie they want to use, but there's no real justice for what they've done or been involved in, there's no consequences, you might be looking at Satan himself, or at least somebody that is operating within the satanic spirit. Okay? So, with that said, let's look at this again. So ask yourself, was the Tuskegee syphilis study, did those men sacrifice? Or were they victims? Were they exploited? Were they lied to? Were they tricked, hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, Was it a human rights violation? Was it a sacrifice? Did they go, we'll try it for the betterment of everyone? Is that what they did? Or for the betterment of our families? Did they make that sacrifice? Or do you see the difference there? And I submit to you, family, it's people like this witch on your screen. I want to say other things, but I'm not. It's people like this. Also with organizations and authoritative organizations and groups, government agencies, the government, president, all these, many of them have this, like I said, some people call it a God complex. I call it a satanic spirit at the very least. Many of them have this. This is ingrained into them. It's in their hearts. Okay? And they're so arrogant that oftentimes they'll slip up and say the quiet part out loud. And that's exactly what happened here, in my opinion, here at One Brothas Mind. Okay? She slipped up and thought, ooh, here's a good word, sacrifice. I'll use that. No. You know you done messed up, right? Now, she's literally, she's looking at this stuff, this whirlwind that just exploded on her when she put out this tweet on Twitter. And within a short period of time, she knew she done messed up. Okay? She knew it. She learned. And then she tried to fix it without fixing it. And there's a reason for that. Stay with me, family. She came out with a follow-up statement. It did not include her saying, I'm sorry, I misspoke. She didn't say anything like that. I apologize. No. She came out and just put out another general garbage statement, thinking that would clear up this issue for her. So she doubled down, basically. She took out the word sacrifice and said some other stuff. But I'm sorry, I apologize, I was wrong. None of that was in her tweet. Right? The reason why she did not apologize, and I don't want you to miss this, family, is because of what I just shared with you earlier. This is what she believes. This is how she really views the people that were affected by this experiment, that they just made a sacrifice, a great sacrifice for society, and we honor them. She really believes that. Okay? And at the very least, it ain't just her. Like I said, she was taught this belief at some point in her life. And she's carried it, and it eventually has slipped out. The quiet part out loud. It slipped out on her. Now, most of the time, so-called authorities and government agencies and business and the media, whatever, so-called people, most of the time, they literally believe or have this, in my opinion, this satanic spirit about the value of other people's lives. They have this. They just do a better job at not slipping up and saying the quiet part out loud. Most of the time. I mean, there's been others that have done it. If you listen and watch people long enough, eventually, many of them are going to slip up and they're going to say what's really inside them is really going to come out. And then most of the time they go, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Family, I've been wanting to say this for so long. Let me clear this up right quick. There is no such thing as a misspoke. That doesn't exist. That's not a thing. These people with this satanic spirit, that's something that they created. I misspoke. You can't misspeak. You either speak or you don't speak. What's a misspeak? I misspoke. What? That's like saying somebody standing in front of your face, looking at you, haul off and bust you in the mouth. And then right after they do that, they say, oh, I'm sorry, that was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. What? No, there was no accident. What they have said. That's the point I'm trying to really get you to focus in on, family. When they slip up and say the quiet part out loud, it's not an accident. It was a mistake. They didn't want to say that out loud, but what was actually inside them came out. So now, in most cases, when that happens, most of them, they go on apologizing and they come up with that old, I misspoke lie, which is not a thing, to try to hurry up and put whatever you want to call it, put the cat back in the bag. No. This is you. This is what you truly believe in your heart. This is how you view people, right? Okay. So, being who this lady is and holding the position that this lady and that she holds, as well as all the other people within this, y'all see the group. There's certain words I'm not gonna say, y'all, because y'all should know by now. I hear in these YouTube streets, we can't even speak regular. Only they have regular freedom of speech. We don't. Don't miss that, because they'll delete our videos or delete our channels. Y'all should know by now. So y'all know what group this is, what agency, and that it's with the government and all that. So here's one question I have for you, and specifically for those who, through the more recent thing that we all went through throughout the world, here at One Brothas Mind, we call it the predator. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The predator thing that made you know who this witch is, right? With all of their information, now you understand what's really in this witch's heart, the perspective that she really holds to and belief, that she doesn't really value everybody's lives, every human being's life the same. So within that context, for those of you that followed her recommendations or the recommendations from the government all throughout the predator situation, here's a question. It's on your screen. Did you unknowingly agree to be a sacrifice also? Are you sure? How can you be sure? Do you still believe that you were fully informed? You had full disclosure on the recommendations from this group the government, or whoever. Yeah. Just something for you to consider. Hey, no shade. If you for whoever, whatever choice or decision you made, no shade. I'm just asking you the question. I think it's something you should consider. I mean, did you make that choice believing it was for the betterment of your health? Are you sure that's what it was for? Again, or could you have actually been an unknowing sacrificial lamb? Yeah. Let it set on your spirit. Well, I mean, once you see the slip-ups, once you see them expose some of the quiet parts out loud, it is something, don't you think, that you should consider or reconsider, right? Yeah. Just a question. That's all I'm asking YouTube is questions. Okay? Because you got to remember. Well, let me go back. You got to remember what was some of the characteristics I identified to you before when you're dealing with Satan or a satanic spirit? Lies, inconsistencies, quiet parts out loud because they're arrogant. They do something or say things like this where they confirm to you in your face that they don't value or see equal value in all human beings' lives. So when you see some of these elements, it should make you at least consider or question or have some questions, right? Let's go back. Let's do a quick review in regards to the predator situation. Just real quick. We're going to ask a couple quick questions. We're going to try to remember. All right. Now that we have a little hindsight, let's try to remember. In regards to the information that was communicated or recommended from all of them, not just this witch or this agency, but from all of them. Okay? Government, president, this organization, this witch, your local witches and warlocks, all of them. Let's look. Okay. At one point, did any of them, were they saying, oh, no, y'all don't need no mask. Masks are not needed. Did that happen? I'm just asking. Because I may have had a really, really bad dream, a nightmare, and heard it in my nightmare, and it didn't really happen, or that wasn't really said or put out there. So I could be tripping. Could be, Hey, so I'm asking, but wasn't that the sentiment put out or the information put out at one point in time, especially early on? Also, wasn't the sentiment, oh, this predator thing, this is not concerning. This is nothing. Don't worry about this. It's not going to be a problem. Wasn't that sentiment put out as well? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Then it even advanced to the point wasn't statements and information put out and said, oh, no, y'all don't need N95 masks. No, yeah, y'all tripping. That's not needed. That's not necessary. Was that sentiment put out? I mean, again, y'all let me know. Then with all of the craziness that went on with the partial, if you will, lockdowns here in the U.S., what was that all about? Did that help? Did that hurt? Was that for the best of people? Or why were certain things locked down, but big business organizations and businesses were not? Or, why was there a difference? I don't know. I'm still struggling with these things, so I need y'all help. That's what it is. I'm going to say it. Let's say that. I need y'all help. I need y'all to help me understand, why was there a difference? Why were differences made? You looked at the other theys. We talking about authorities. You look at the school systems authorities, college authorities. Why? But what was the issue with virtual or just being open? Why was there such contention and dispute there? Why was there no definite, affirmative, solid approach for everybody? Why was it all mixed up? I mean, literally, you had within the same school districts, you had some was like, nah, we open. Other was like, nah, we close. What? Here's the computer. Go home. What? Colleges, we open. Next week, we close. 2 weeks later, we open. I mean, what? Inconsistency. Also, whether locally, nationally, or even globally, you look at countries. Are you sure you've always seen reported accurate numbers from everybody, locally, nationally, and globally? I mean, there's countries, one that starts with a C, that most people we know, there's not a nugget of truth that came out of that country. Not one. And for those that don't know, this is kind of where a lot of people believe this at least started from. We're not going to even get into how and why it started. We're not going to get into it, but inaccurate numbers. Why? What's up? Why we can't get the truth? Why? Then even with especially with this organization on your screen, they went to telling everybody it's best to get the ooh-wee. And here, One Brothas Mind, we call that thing they wanted everybody to get, we call it the ooh-wee. You need to get the ooh-wee. In fact, we're going to make you get the ooh-wee. Right? Wait a minute. Now, if the ooh-wee is something good, is something that's best and healthy and all of that yummy goodness, why you gotta force people to get it? It would be something people would run to. Everybody. Cool, KD Smooth. I'm gonna run. If it's something good, I'm first in line. But for many, the inconsistencies and things of this nature is why it's like cause people to go, wait a minute. Let me look more into this. That don't sound right. Even to the point to where, if y'all remember, some of y'all done forgot, they literally changed the definition of what the original definition was, from immunity to the new definition that says it's protection or extra protection. You see the difference there? There's a 9-day difference between you'll be immune to something versus having possibly, maybe, in some kind of which way, extra protection. So there was a lot of, again, listening today, again, characteristics that help you identify Satan or a satanic spirit. Lies, inconsistencies, slipping up and saying the quiet part out loud because they're arrogant with it. Satan don't care. I put it this way. Satan don't care. He gonna tell you what it is up front. And he laughing at you because he know most time, most people are gonna just still, even though he's telling you whether you don't understand, whether you don't care, whatever, you just gonna go along with it. So he's just laughing, arrogant, to the point of even saying the quiet part out loud. And no, I'm an equal opportunity here at One Brothas Mind. I ain't just talking about you can't always listen to everybody, not even Katie's move. Hey, anything I say, research, figure it out for yourself. All right, don't take my word for nothing. But there's a whole lot of I want to say some stuff. Whole lot of knucklehead black people, so-called black people, when the Predator came out, too, running around. Oh, black people can't get it. What? Stop right there. When has there ever been anything that was bad, that had harmful effects in history, that black people were immune from? I'll wait. But you had, man, they done took that. Hey, something told me when that stuff was on out here in these social media streets to download, get copies of all the black people saying all this crazy junk. There was brothers and sisters, of course, y'all remember, it's just the flu. Really? I begged people, I told people, even before it was officially here in the U.S., I told people, get what you need, get these things, use them to increase your safety. People looked at me like I was crazy. I tried to warn people about this was coming. I ain't crazy. And boom, here it was. And when it got, it's like, you don't believe fat meat's crazy. Or it wasn't here first, then boom, it was here. Then it was, it's just gonna be a little bit. Then boom, it spread a little bit more. Then a couple months later, it was worse. And a couple months later, it was worse and worse. Just kept getting worse. At some point, there was, y'all, I even saw all kind of weird so-called remedies that so-called black people were putting out. I have one that's just stuck on my mind, that stuck with me. I saw a brother standing over a stove with a pot of boiling water, and he had put some kind of something in that boiling water. I can't remember what it was. And then he was on these social media streets talking about, all you got to do. He had a towel over his head. Y'all know where I'm going. Man, where are these people at now? Listening to they will almost always, I don't care who they is, will almost always lead you to trouble. Okay? Even Katie's move. Don't take my word for nothing. Research, confirm anything I say. Okay? But I just wanted to touch on this family real quick. Again, hit the like button, share this report on all your social media, and make sure you're subscribed to One Brothas Mind, because we try to bring you the information and facts you need. Okay. So you say, well, if it wasn't for to help make the world healthier, what other reason could it have been for? I have no idea. I got a blank. I mean, there's nothing coming across my mind right now. I wonder if there's anything that would give me an idea of what else could have been the reason for all this craziness, and especially from people who say the quiet part out loud and don't value or see equal value in all human beings' life. I wonder. Man, I hope one day I'm able to figure it out. I really do. Because that's one, I think about that all the time. What could be their real motivation? I don't know. Yeah. I offer you this, family. This is something to consider when they speak. This is out of the Bible, book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. And ye are, or I'd say they are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father, they, or ye, will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in truth. Remember the lies I told you about? Inconsistencies? Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh, or when they speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. Just something to consider when you're listening to them or they, or hearing what they have to say, recommendations and all kinds. Just something to consider. Because if you really strengthen your discernment in identifying when you're dealing with Satan or the spirit of Satan, you really get strong and pretty good at doing that, and you start making alternative decisions. Let's say that you're going to be pretty much by yourself. Expect that. Okay? Expect it. But I'd rather be by myself, the lone voice in the wilderness on some things, than to be with the group, be with the crowd as they falling off the cliff, if you will, expiring. And speaking of expiring, if you don't know, family, some of y'all already know where I'm going. I'm not going to go down this road, but real quick, I got a report coming up on this very soon. But you have to get information and so-called news reports from outside of the U.S. on this. Okay? Because it's just not being reported in the U.S. Definitely not on mainstream. So find you some good external information and news sources. But there are many reports of an increased number of unexpected expirations happening over the last year or so. Just completely unexpected. Okay, even ones expected, like with the elderly, there is an increase that's being reported. But also with healthy, younger, middle-aged people, even, shall we say, little children and babies, do your research. Again, if you want to wait, I don't know when I'm going to have it up. Hopefully as soon as I can, but I'm going to put a report out on it to give you some information to help you do your research on that. Okay. But again, I'd rather be the lone voice in the wilderness than with the group that's walking off the cliff in any situation. Okay. So, but expect this. It's okay. So there you have it, family. I'm not going to beat this up too long. I just wanted to highlight, because for a lot of people, this information from these people on your screen, this was pretty much the same thing as Yah himself speaking what you needed to do, and you got to do it. And this information caused disruptions amongst family members, parents and children and siblings. Woo, man. And now you actually hear some of the motivation from these people in these groups. This one messed up and said a piece of the quiet part out loud. Yeah. Okay, family. Y'all let me know what y'all think on this issue. Let's chop it up in the comments. I mean, even if you don't agree, drop it in the comments. Be respectful, but drop it in the comments. Break it down to me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe Katie's mood tripping. Hey, it wouldn't be the first time. Okay? But let's see what we can come up with. See if we can figure this thing out. I need help, because I literally, sometimes I believe I just had a bad dream, and all that list of things I went through, that stuff didn't happen. It happened in my dream. Well, it ain't really happened, did it? But if it did, y'all let me know. And this concludes this broadcast for One Brothas Mind. We thank you for joining us, and as a part of the new Black media, B1 choices are mandatory, and being on code is required. But never fear, Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.